This is Matthew Cratter's Bitcoin University. Today I want to teach you how to mine Bitcoin at home. There are a number of reasons to do this. Here's your chance to support the Bitcoin network by running a NOTs node. That will help to stop spam from being sent around the network. You'll also learn how to build your own spam-free blocks that you're going to mine. And you can also give yourself this chance to do lotto mining, giving yourself the chance to win over $325,000 worth of Bitcoin if you solo mine a block. So it's a fun project that will definitely teach you a lot, and it'll give you the chance to play the Bitcoin lottery every 10 minutes. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a Start9 server. Either you buy one or do it yourself. The Start9 server, of course, running the Start operating system, StartOS. This itself will allow you to run your own Bitcoin NOTs node, as well as the Datum Gateway app that will allow you to build your own blocks to mine and decide which transactions to include. Number two, of course, you'll need a desktop or laptop with a web browser like Brave that you'll use to access your Start9 server remotely over Wi-Fi. You'll also need to have Sparrow Wallet installed. I'm going to give you links to all these resources. And of course, you will need a hasher as well, a Bitcoin miner. And in this case, we're going to be using the Bitaxe miner. Now, warning, this video might exceed your current technical ability. So definitely take it slow, rewatch as many times as necessary, and go easy on yourself. If you'd like a much longer and more detailed version of this tutorial, I've covered it twice on my paid site, both in December of last year, December 2024, as well as a recent class from June 2025, where I covered solo and pooled mining. So I'll put links to those in the description notes below as well. This is what we're going to be using. We're going to be using a Bitaxe, which is an open source, a fully open source Bitcoin mining program. So you basically go to bitaxe.org/buy. This will connect you to a list of vendors that you can buy your Bitaxe from. You basically select your region. I would select North America, then it would give me a list of vendors that are close to me. This is the Bitaxe miner I'll be using for this demonstration today. This is the Bitaxe Gamma, the 601 Gamma, and it has a hash rate of 1.2 terahash per second. The nice thing about these, they're not super expensive, especially compared to traditional ASICs, which can be thousands of dollars. This Bitaxe Gamma currently for sale for about $100. These are very low sound, they're low power. You don't have a huge chance of winning a block, mining a block using one of these, because they have a fairly low, in fact, a very low hash rate, but this is part of the fun of lotto mining. It is really like buying a lottery ticket, but a lottery ticket that renews every 10 minutes and that you can use for a long time. And there have been people who have solo mined blocks using Bitaxes. This was a solo Bitcoin miner with 3 terahash per second that mined block 853742 back in July of 2024 and earned 3.192 Bitcoin in the process. So you'll need one of these Bitaxe miners. You'll also need to have had, you'll also need Sparrow Wallet installed, or you just need a Bitcoin address. This is a nice way to generate one. And so you'll download it here according to your operating system. If you're on Mac, for example, whether you're using an Apple chip or an Intel chip, or whether you're on Windows, etc. And then you should also always verify the release if you know how to do that before installing it. Make sure you use sparrowwallet.com. I'll show you what Sparrow looks like opened up in a moment from now. But basically, so far now we have our Bitaxe miner. We have some sort of Bitcoin wallet using Sparrow Wallet here to generate a Bitcoin address that will receive the mining reward. And then you're going to need a Start9 server. I think this is the best way to do it. These servers plug into an electrical outlet and plug into your router. And then you can access them remotely, as I'm going to show you, from any browser that's on the same home network, the same home Wi-Fi network. I have the server 1. If you have the money, get the server pure. This is the one I wish I'd purchased, and I'll probably get one soon. But the server 1 is great as well. And if you don't have the money to buy one of these, you can also do it yourself and build one. Paul Lamb has a great video, which I'll link to in the description notes below, how to build the server pure, the Start9 server pure. So that would be the one on the right here, how to build it at half the price. I also put a link to Bitcoin Not Crypto's channel talking about how you can build a $300 do-it-yourself, basically convert a mini PC, a $300 mini PC, into a Start9 server, and then install all the apps that I'm going to be showing you onto that server, as well as Southern Bitcoiner's channel here, where he talks about how to run Bitcoin NOTs on Start9 and how to switch from Bitcoin Core to Bitcoin NOTs. You'll need to be running Bitcoin NOTs in order to mine. So the first thing we're going to do is we will go to my Start9 server and make sure Bitcoin NOTs is installed. You'll basically go to the marketplace, which you can think of as being like the App Store. These are all free apps. And there are two versions of this App Store. There's the Start9 registry. So you just go there and type in the app that you want to download. We can see that Bitcoin NOTs is not coming up. As I understand it, in the next release of StartOS, this will be available in the Start9 registry. For now, it's only available in the community registry. So what you need to do is you need to click this change button and go to the community registry, click connect, and that will connect you to basically the community app store. Type in Bitcoin Knots and we can see it's right here. I've already installed it, so it's showing installed. The other thing you'll want to do is you also want to install Datum Gateway, and we can see that's in the community registry as well. That's also installed here. So let's go here. You can see all the different apps I've running. I have some Lightning apps as well, but we'll be focusing today on Bitcoin Knots and Datum Gateway. So the next thing to do is we're going to go to Datum Gateway. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. Let's first take a look at the instructions here. So here's the quick start guide. You basically have to have Bitcoin Knots installed. As we said, we're going to have to set up SimpleProxy, which is kind of a pain. This is only going to be necessary for this version of the Start9 operating system. When the next upgrade comes, you won't have to do this sort of painful process. Then all you need to do is put a valid Bitcoin address into Datum Gateway's config, point your miners to the IP and port of your Start9 server and your Datum Gateway service respectively. We'll be using port 23334, and I'll show you how to do all of this. But the first thing we're going to need to do here, if I'm remembering correctly, is we're going to have to set up SimpleProxy. This is the point at which some of you may get intimidated, but you shouldn't get intimidated. It's really basically copy and pasting. So let's go down here and find, okay, so you'll want to go down where it says installing and running SimpleProxy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to basically SSH into our home Start9 server. So the way you can do that is you can go up here and to at least on a Mac and type in go to this little glass here and type in under Spotlight search, type in terminal. I'm not going to do it right now because some stuff comes up that I don't really want to show, but once it opens up it will look like this. And so this is basically a terminal. This is how we're going to SSH into our Start9 server. So the way we do that, let me go back and get the command. You're basically going to use a command that looks something like this, but using your own browser name. So we'll go back to the terminal. We'll copy and paste this command in there. This is just the local. If we take a look here, we can see it's the local name for my Start9 server. So let's go back here. We basically have it in terminal. We press return, and then we have to enter the password. Let me just enter my password. Hopefully I remember it correctly. Okay, so now we can see that we've accessed our Start9 server, and you can see that the prompt here looks a little bit different. So this is the point at which we're going to just stop. We're going to start copying and pasting this code. So we'll go sudo, we'll copy this, and then we'll paste it in here. This part's a little bit boring, so bear with me. Then we'll do the next one. We're just going to do one line at a time. Go back to terminal and paste. Then we will do the next one. Paste it in and press return again. And then we need to copy and paste this large chunk of code all in one command. Do it here and paste it. And then let's see what's next. Next, copy and paste the following. Go right here. And again, you're not going to need to do this if you're using the next version of the Start operating system. So if you're watching this in a couple months, maybe by the end of the summer, you won't have to do this. And then we'll finally click exit. We can see here that basically I already have this installed, so it's not really doing that much. We're just going through the motions, but I'll click exit. And now the system is rebooting. And if we could just clean this up, we can see everything is installed. Your server will now restart and be accessible to miners on your LAN. So I think we can get rid of terminal for now. I'll just pause while it's restarting to ask you to help support this channel's educational mission. If you're finding this video helpful and interesting so far, hit the subscribe button below this video. That really does help the channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, question, suggestion for a future video, and share this video with a friend or family member. So we've installed Bitcoin Knots, we've installed Datum Gateway, we've installed SimpleProxy using the terminal. Now we need to set up the configuration for solo mining, and I promise you the hardest part is done now. So let's go back here. It looks like everything's still rebooting. Let's pause here and I will come back when this is totally restarted. Okay, it looks like my Start9 server has now done a restart. So let's go back into Datum Gateway. We just need to configure it now so that it can talk to my miner. So we'll go under config here, and we're going to go under Stratum server. No, let's see, go under mining settings. You can see I've already put a Bitcoin address in here. the way you will get this, the place you'll get this, you'll go to your Sparrow wallet, you'll just go to receive. I'm going to label this Bitaxe block reward for solo mining, generates a Bitcoin address here. I can just click the copy button here. I can go back to the browser here and just paste in that Bitcoin address. And then this is the fun point where you get to put in a couple different names here. So I will put, these will actually show up on the blocks if you're successful in mining them. Satoshi Nakamoto. And then I will put, you can have a secondary tag. I'm just going to put Bitcoin Knots Maxi there. And then we need to scroll down here, and under Datum, we need to get rid of the pool host because we're going to be solo mining. So we'll get rid of that. We'll leave the pool port as it is. And then we'll go down here and click never non-pooled only because we're going to be doing solo mining. And then we click save, and it's going to restart the app. And then we should be all set here. Let's go back to services. We can see Datum Gateway is restarting. While it's doing that, I wanted to show you a couple other links. If you're wondering how I did the SSH into my Start9 server, I'll put a link to this resource in the description notes below, as well as a description about Datum, which stands for Decentralized Alternative Templates for Universal Mining, and Jason's great summary of how that works. Okay, so Datum Gateway is all set. It's up and running. So I think the next thing we need to do is basically just plug in our Bitaxe. So what we're going to do is when you get your Bitaxe, you'll plug it into the power outlet, and then it will boot up and it will have its own local Wi-Fi that it's generating. So then you just go to your phone, go to your smartphone, go to under settings, and get on that same Wi-Fi. Allow your smartphone, your iPhone, to connect to that local Wi-Fi that's being generated by the Bitaxe. You will then go into your phone, a little pop-up will happen, and you'll be able to enter your home network details, your username and password essentially, and then you will be able to, that will get the Bitaxe on your home network. You'll enter home Wi-Fi information, and so then after you do that, at this point your Bitaxe, your miner, your laptop and desktop, and your Start9 server should all be on the same home network. Next thing to do is you need to get your Start9 server's local IP address to put it into the Bitaxe. So in order to do that, you're going to go to Start9 over here, you'll go to System, and you will go click on, where is it? You'll click on About. I don't want to do that right now because it shows some sensitive data, but that's where you're going to get your server, the local IP address that you're going to need to put into your Bitaxe. So once you do that, and actually once your Wi-Fi is, once you've entered your home Wi-Fi information on your Bitaxe, on the little screen, you will see an IP address that looks like this. It won't be the same as mine, but it'll look something like this, 1.192.168, etc. So let me plug in my Bitaxe right now so we can see this boot up. But basically that's how I access the controls. I just look at my Bitaxe screen, I type in the IP address that's there in any browser like this, and this will allow this dashboard to pop up. So let me plug back in my Bitaxe, and then we'll come back and take a look at this. Okay, so I just plugged in my Bitaxe, I let it run a little bit, and we can see now that the dashboard has been populated. This is where, under network, this is where you can change your Wi-Fi settings for the Bitaxe. You can look at all your different miners right here under Swarm. The first thing we're going to do here to get started mining is we're going to go under Pool Settings. We're going to take that IP address from our home server from the Start9 server. Remember in the previous step I showed you, go to Start9 System About, you get the IP address. You're going to copy and paste it right here under Stratum Host. You can also paste it down here under Fallback Stratum Host if you want to use the same thing for your fallback. And then you're going to use for both of these, you're going to use this port. This is particular to Datum, I believe, 23334, same port down here. And then you're just going to paste in the same Bitcoin address where you want to receive your reward. You can add a Stratum password. I don't think it really matters. You can just use something like 12345. And so that's basically all you need to do to configure the pool. You'll click Save, you'll click Restart, and then your Bitaxe will be up and running. You'll see the dashboard like this. And it looks like we're now mining. So our expected hash rate is 1.07 terahashes per second. We're actually hashing at a slightly higher rate. We've done 3 shares of work so far. This shows you the efficiency, how many joules per terahash you're generating. And then you have some other settings as well. Here you can just set, if you want to overclock, which is a whole advanced topic. You can also target the temperature. You can try to make your Bitaxe run a little faster and try not to overheat it. You can flip the screen. But that's basically how this works. We are now solo mining. And if you want to confirm that you're solo mining, we'll go back here. We'll go back to Datum Gateway, and we'll click right here in the user interface, and it shows us here status non-pooled mode. We have the green light, everything's good. And if I were to mine a block while we're doing this, it would have the pool tag Satoshi Nakamoto, and then the secondary miner tag Bitcoin Knots Maxi. If you want to see what that looks like, we can go to my own instance of mempool.space, and this is basically where it would appear. It would say, if I was able to mine a block, it would say Satoshi Nakamoto right here, and then underneath it would say Bitcoin Knots Maxi. So that's a little bit of a vanity thing. And then of course getting the $325,000 worth of Bitcoin would also be a really nice thing. So that's how you do. Oh, it looks like it's actually overheating right now. Let me show you quickly though how to switch from solo mining. We can see it's non-pooled mode. Let me show you how to pool mine with Ocean as part of this. So if you want to switch from solo mining to pooled mining, we'll just click on Datum Gateway here. We'll go back down under config. We'll go under mining settings, and I'm just going to copy and paste this address for a reason you'll see in a moment. Copy that, and then what I'm going to do is hit reset defaults down here. I'll need to re-enter that Bitcoin address or any address I want to use to receive the pool rewards from pooled mining, and then of course I can change the tag, and I'm not sure if this will automatically show up as Datum, but certainly the secondary Coinbase tag I can change. I'll just leave it as the defaults here, and then we can go down here and see that it will have defaulted us back to a pool host. We'll be mining with Ocean, as well as down here it says require pooled mining only. So now I just click save, and we need to let this let the Datum Gateway restart, and then we'll be able to go inside the user interface and see whether we're now pooled mining with Ocean. So now that looks like it's restarted. We'll click right here, and we can see right now that we are connected to the Ocean pool. It says connected and ready. You will know if you, well actually I should have showed you on the other one. We'll go back there, but basically now this has gone, this is all switched over as well, and this will be mining with Ocean as well. Let me show you one last thing. Let's just go back to solo mining so you can see what that looks like, and what it would look like if you actually mine a block. So let's go back in here to Datum Gateway. We'll go back to config. We'll go to miner settings. We have this. We'll just reuse this, and we'll leave the Coinbase tags as they are. We'll go back down here to Datum. We'll get rid of the pool host. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything here. And we'll go down to never pooled only. We'll click save, and that will restart. Let me show you what it will look like if you actually mine a solo block on your own. If you do the pooled mining with Ocean, you will get a percentage of the rewards. It'll be quite small, and that's something I talk about. It's a little bit more involved, setting up a Lightning address to receive your pool rewards out. That's something I talk about in that live class. So if you want to learn how to do that, I imagine most of you will want to be doing solo mining. And the way you'll know if you were able to mine a block, you'll click right here. Maybe you'll wake up in the morning. If it says shares accepted, if there's one share accepted here, that means you mined a block. And after, I believe it's 100 blocks, that Bitcoin reward will be sent automatically by the Bitcoin network to that Bitcoin address that you provided. So right now we're doing non-pooled mining. We're doing solo mining, lotto mining. And if you go down here, you can see the current job that it's working on. So this says it's currently working on block height 904761. Let's confirm if that's true by looking at the mempool. That's true. The last block that was mined was 904760. So my hasher, along with everyone else's, is trying to find the next block, which is 904761. So if you ever see a 1 here, you have basically won the lottery when it comes to solo mining. I think that's pretty much it in terms of solo mining. What are your odds of winning a block in this solo mining? Let's assume you're using a Bitaxe that hashes at 1 terahash per second. My gamma here hashes a little bit faster, but let's assume it's at 1 terahash just to keep the math straight. The total hash rate of the network, the last time I checked, is about 875 exahashes per second. So we convert that 1 terahash to exahashes. We look at the ratio. That's a 1 in 875 million chance, but there are 144 blocks mined every day. So that's actually a 1 in 6. If we just divide 875 million by 144, we end up with approximately 6 million. So that's actually a 1 in 6 million chance of winning a block on a given day. And unlike your state lottery or lottery jackpots, you get to play this Bitcoin mining lottery game every day, 365 days per year. I'm currently mining with 2 Bitaxes. Haven't noticed any change in my monthly electricity bill. These are very, very low power machines. Makes sense, they're very low power. They're also really nice and quiet. You can hear the buzz from the hum of the fan of the Bitaxe. They're nice and quiet though, so you can keep one on your desk at home and not be forced to relegate it to the garage like noisy miners that use more electricity, but that also hash at a much higher rate. You can get an industrial sized ASIC, put it in your garage, and you might have to soundproof it, figure out how to cool it, etc. But what we're talking about here with the Bitaxe is much easier. It's a really nice hobbyist way of starting this. If you want to go into more depth, you can check out that 2-hour recording of my recent Zoom class. I'll put a link to that in the description notes below. And when you join Bitcoin University, you get access to all of those live classes that have been done in the past, as well as the paid course, the Bitcoin Forum, and other things like that. So do check that out after you've exhausted all the free material here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.